Hey guys, so this is a module from my course which covers a whole bunch of stuff to do with like interviews, different types of questions. It's the nerves module. I want to just release this full video just because someone asked a question about interview nerves and boosting confidence during interviews. So I thought this module would be helpful. So that's what I'm going to basically like play after this. I'm just going to like copy paste this module, whack it in at the end here. And this is basically what I think most helps with nerves, most helps with confidence, in what helped me. And I'll also add some extra information at the end. So yeah, module straight from my course. Hope you find this useful. And if you did find value from this video, go leave a like down below. See you guys in a bit. Okay, so now we're going to cover nerves because nerves is completely normal. A lot of people are going to be nervous before their interviews and assessment centres and that sort of thing. So hopefully in this module we can sort of help a bit. So these are some things which I think work for me. So hopefully there's something within this module you get a bit of value from it and it can help with your nerves. So I think there's 3 things to help with nerves. Okay, the first one is practice, and there's no easy answer to it. It's as simple as do practice. If you've never done an interview or a mock interview question before and you walk into your interview, you're going to be nervous. Okay, if you have done 100 million interview questions before, for example, you're going to be fine walking into an interview. So it's purely a case of practice. So join our group coaching calls, book a one-on-one call with me. Just the more practice you do, the less nervous you're going to get. Okay. Another thing is book a debrief call with me for the afternoon or evening of your interview so we can get you ready for the next one. So essentially, if you have an interview or an assessment centre, let's book a debrief call. And it basically means when it's still fresh in your mind, so either on the afternoon of it or the evening of it, we can go through what you think went well, what you think could be improved. And that means we can sort of plan out and get you ready for your next one. And that means by the time you get to your next one, we've now improved on your specific aspects you were worried about or your weaknesses, and means you're going to be less nervous for the next one. So that's thinking about the long-term thing there. It's like if you've got lots of interviews and assessment centres, let's book those debrief calls and let's see how we can get you ready for the next one. It's just a long-term strategy. It's a good play to make. So if you do have an interview or an assessment centre or anything like that, just drop me a message and we can book a debrief call for the afternoon or evening of that. That's completely fine. It's just a bonus call for you, really, so I can give you some more value there. Okay, so that's practice. No easy answer. You got to do the practice. Now, on top of that, nerves is just a mindset. Like, nerves is all in your head. Like, nerves isn't a real thing. Okay, like if you had to like point to me, oh, what is nerves? It's not a real thing, right? It's just a mindset. So right now I've got 5 beliefs for you. Okay, that you can reiterate these beliefs in your head, tell yourself these beliefs, and hopefully they will help with nerves. Now, out of these 5 beliefs here, don't worry about like reading them. I'm just going to hide them because you're probably reading them. Don't worry about reading them for now. Sorry, don't worry about using every single one. Okay, because there's 5 of them here. Not every single one is going to work for you. Okay, but I'm hoping like 1 out of 5 of these, this belief resonates with you, and you think it would work. And basically, with these beliefs, if you tell yourself these beliefs and you start believing in these beliefs, it's going to limit the amount of nerves. It's going to reduce your nerves. Okay, so as I said, not every single one of these 5 is going to work for you, but hopefully at least one of these 5 beliefs works for you. And you can keep reiterating this in your mind, and that's going to help you out. Because nerves is just a mindset. It's just your beliefs. Okay, because let me give you some psychology here. Your brain can't differentiate between a real situation and an imagined situation. So let me give you an example. Okay, if you're imagining something happy, if you're imagining a happy situation, you're going to feel more happy. Okay. Similarly, if you start imagining like a really bad situation, like maybe you're overthinking. Like I've had this, right, where someone's supposed to be at home, like they were supposed to come back at like 3 p.m, right, and it's like 7 p.m. and they're nowhere to be seen, right? In my mind, I'm thinking they've died. Okay, I'm imagining that they've died in a car crash and they're somewhere, right? Then I start getting worried about that, and then I'm thinking about that, and then my mind's thinking that. So my mind is perceiving the imagined situation of like a car crash devastation scene. It's imagining that in my head, so I think that's real. And then I feel all worried about that. But it wasn't even real because they just had another thing and then they came back at like 7:15, right? Because your brain just uses, it can't differentiate. If you imagine something, right, if you imagine a situation, your brain will think it's real. That's why it's so powerful to have good beliefs in your head, because with beliefs you can trick yourself into thinking things. Like you can trick yourself out of being nervous. I've done it, okay, and I'll explain it in a second with one of these beliefs. But that's why beliefs are so powerful. Okay, so let's go through the first one. Okay, I'm just going to hide these ones because you'll probably get distracted by them. But first one is you're nervous because you're excited. Okay, so I'm not a psychologist, by the way. I just know a bit about psychology because I've like watched stuff, read books on it, and that sort of thing. But essentially, you got to tell yourself that you're not nervous. It's right. You're excited because
the nerves and excitement sort of thing, apparently they come from like the same region of the brain, or they come from a similar sort of thing, okay? So that's what you got to tell yourself there. You're not nervous because you're nervous. Because when you start thinking, oh, okay, I'm nervous because I'm scared and I'm nervous and I'm worried and I don't know what I'm doing and all this sort of stuff, then it makes it real. Congratulations, you've now made it real. Now you're actually nervous because you've told yourself you're nervous. Before you tell yourself you're nervous, you're not actually nervous. Because I said nervous is just a mindset. But if you tell yourself, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, then you're no longer nervous, you're just excited. Like, it's mental. If it's like you can gaslight yourself into thinking things. I do this all the time. Okay, because like everything is mindset. Like in life, okay, you want to do the right actions, okay? You want to do the right actions which are going to give you the results you want. So you have a certain goal, so you need to take the right actions to get that goal. Now, to do those right actions, you need to make decisions, good decisions, and those decisions are going to make you do those actions which are going to make you achieve that goal. Okay? And those decisions come from your mindset. And that's why mindset is so powerful. Right? Because you get the mindset unlock. When you have a good mindset, you're going to make good decisions. When you make good decisions, you're going to make good actions. And when you do good actions, you're going to get good results. Everything stems from mindset. And that's why it's so important to be in control of your mindset and in control of your beliefs. Okay, so you're nervous because you're excited. So don't tell yourself you're nervous. Don't start saying, "Oh, I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm not prepared," and all this rubbish. Because then it makes it real. Then you are going to be nervous. Then you are not prepared. But just tell yourself, "I'm excited. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to go." And then it's no longer nerves. It's just excitement. Okay. Never going to see them again. This is like a belief for if you're worried about sort of the like social aspect of it, right? Or like you're just nervous of interacting with other people, or you're nervous of messing up, right? Maybe it's even the group exercise. This is a good one for the group exercise. If you're worried about what the other people think of you, never going to see them again. You're literally never going to see them ever again. Okay? So don't worry about like messing things up. Right? Because like let's say you do mess things up. Let's say you have a really bad interview or a really bad group exercise or whatever. You're never going to see them again. What's the worst that happens? You mess up and you never see them again. It's not like they're going to be there tomorrow like laughing at you. They're going to be outside your front door laughing. You're never going to see them again. They're 100 million miles away from you. That you're never going to see them again. That's another belief for you there. This is a powerful one. This is a very powerful one. Now, this won't work for a lot of people, but let me tell you a story. So when I had my driving test, okay, in the like probably 2 or 3 months leading up to my driving test, every sort of weekend, what I'd do is I'd go with my mum, and for like 2 or 3 hours, we'd just drive around like the sort of towns and villages and that sort of stuff near me, and we just drive around, right? And it was so much fun. Like I love driving. Like driving's a lot of fun. And like literally every weekend, we just go and drive for like 2 hours, and I loved it, right? And it was like preparing for my test, so we do like test routes and that sort of thing. But I was just driving, chilling, really liked it. And then I got to my driving test, and then the situation was, if I passed my driving test, my insurance would no longer be valid on the car I was driving. So I had like learner insurance or whatever it is. I don't know the specific details, but I had like learner insurance. But the moment I became a full driver, I'd no longer have that learner insurance. I'd no longer have any insurance, so I wouldn't be able to drive because at that point I hadn't purchased like the proper insurance or anything like that. So essentially, I was going into this driving test knowing that I really enjoy driving. At the moment, I'm doing it every single weekend. If I fail, then I'm going to continue driving every single weekend. If I pass, I'm not going to be able to drive every single weekend. So my mindset going into this driving test genuinely was, I don't care if I fail. I don't care if I pass. I don't care. Because my mindset was, if I fail, I just get to keep driving every single weekend. Like I'm loving it. So like I fail, boom, let's book a test for 6 months' time. Boom, I got 6 months of getting to drive around every weekend. But if I pass, it's like I no longer have insurance. So now I either have to pay that or I'm not going to be able to drive. So I was literally going into this driving test with, I don't care about this driving test. I don't care about passing it or not. In fact, I'd kind of rather fail it. That was the mindset I was telling myself. So it meant in that driving test, it was nerve-free. Because it was just like, who cares? No one cares about this. So that was what worked for me in the driving test. I don't care about the driving test. I couldn't care less about passing. And it just takes away the nerves. Because what am I nervous about? I'm not nervous about passing because I don't care about passing. Now, this is a similar sort of thing you can use in the apprenticeship. I don't care about this apprenticeship. Because let's think if there's 2 different degree apprenticeship interviews you're going into, okay? One where it's like the company you want. Okay, like this is the number one company you want. Okay, let's say JLR. This is the company you want the most. You're about to go into a JLR interview. And then there's another interview, which is just some random company based in like Northern Ireland or something, right? Some Northern Ireland, like, I don't know, like an accounting firm or something stupid like that, right? In Northern Ireland, which one are you going to be more nervous for? It's going to be the JLR, right? Because that's the one you want the most. And this one, who cares? You're just going to walk into it and be like, oh, who cares? I couldn't care less what happens, right? It's just some random thing in Northern Ireland. I'm not going to Northern Ireland. That's what you're going to be like. And this is actually what I did as well in one of my apprenticeship interviews. So there was a company which I wanted to work at the most. Okay, at that time it was like the number one company I wanted to. And I knew that this was like the interview I was going to go into for this one was basically the most important one because it was the one I wanted. So what I did was I just gaslit myself and just told myself that I don't care about this one at all. I don't even want to work for this company. And as I said, your brain just believes what you tell it. Like it can't perceive between real and imagined. If you just tell yourself something, your brain believes it. And if you tell yourself something enough, like your brain just fully believes it. So I just convinced myself that I didn't even want this apprenticeship. And it meant I went into it with like no nerves. Because I didn't want it. I didn't care about it. Even though, like, objectively, at this time, this was the one I genuinely wanted the most. Like, this is the one I thought I was actually going to go into long term. I just told myself I didn't even want it at all. I convinced myself that. And it meant I can go into that interview not caring about it because I didn't care. Okay, this won't work for everyone, but it's something to think about. Okay, can you convince yourself that you don't care about it? I'm not saying like your number one company, oh, just stop caring about it and just like purposely do bad in your interview. No, this is not, I'm not telling you to do bad in your interview because you don't care about it. I'm just saying it from a mindset belief perspective. If you can convince yourself that you don't sort of care about this specific one, then there's going to be way less nerves. So you're going to go in with the exact same ability, less nerves. It means you're going to do better. And another place this comes from is if you're applying to more companies and you're getting through to more interviews and more assessment centres, you're going to have an abundance mindset, which means you're just genuinely not going to care as much. Okay, so there's two ways of doing this. Either apply to a lot of companies, get a lot of offers, which means by the time you're getting into some of these interviews, you've already got 3 offers on your plate. You don't really care, right? And that was me sort of going into my final couple of interviews. Like I just didn't care. So like the moment I got my first offer, it was like from there, it's like who really cares at this point? So like once you get your first offer, you're probably going to have this mindset like I honestly don't care anymore. Or maybe when you have a couple of offers or whatever, so you can use that mindset there. But at the start, you're going to have to manufacture this. You're going to have to come up with from scratch, convince yourself, I don't care about this apprenticeship. As I said, this isn't going to work for everyone. So these beliefs here, I'm not saying all of you have to do every single one. I'm just giving you suggestions. If one of these resonates with you, you think it would work to help reduce your nerves, go for it. Okay? Or if all these beliefs sound stupid, like you don't have to do this beliefs, but I'm trying to just drop some value here because I know there's going to be at least one person who these beliefs are going to help them with their nerves. Oh, I'm lagging. Hold on. There we go. The recruiter is not real. This one's huge. This one's my favourite. Is it my favourite? Yeah, I think this one's my favourite. Nothing is real. Okay, you have to just imagine 99% of people are just NPCs, right? Nothing is real. No one is real. Because when you get to a point where you're like the recruiter's not real, no one's real, you just stop caring about anything. It's like people on the street who are walking out in public, they're not real. Nothing's real. This person on a video call who's interviewing you, who say they work for this company, they're not real. And everyone else in the group exercise, they're not real. Nothing is real. It's all a simulation. Then it's going to get to this point again of not caring. You're just not going to care. They're not real. Okay, you're never going to see them again. They're not real. Like this one's powerful for me. This one works properly for me. Like if I'm on a call with an interviewer, that interviewer isn't even a real person. They're just AI. Because then you stop caring about trying to impress them or do well in front of them or not mess up because they're literally AI. They're just AI. And like again, this is where like the psychology of it comes in so powerful. Like if I say the phrase, "Oh, the recruiter's not real; they're just AI." Obviously, it's not true. Like the recruiter is a real person. But again, your brain can't tell the difference between what you tell it and what is actually true. Like this is why just the mindset of telling yourself things, literally gaslighting yourself, is so powerful for mindset. Just by telling yourself multiple times this recruiter is not real, your brain's going to start to believe it a tiny bit. And if they're not real, you're going to be less nervous because you're going to be more nervous when there's a real person who's actually marking you on an interview, or if you're in a call with someone who's literally AI, they're literally a simulation. They're not even real. They don't even work for that company. Like they're literally not real. You're going to be less nervous when they're not real. When you're literally talking to an AI simulation. Okay, so it sounds stupid, but it's very powerful on your mindset and on your belief and on your brain. If you just imagine they're not real. Now this one, I think all of these ones, okay, that one's pretty standard, okay? Like I'll just be honest with you, with these beliefs again. This one's like a pretty standard one. This is like a common thing you might have heard before to do with excited. I think that'll work for a lot of people. That one's pretty good as well. These two are a bit more like wacky, okay? Like, I'll be honest, these two are a bit more like niche. Like most people, these are probably not going to work. They work well with me, but they're not going to work for everyone. But this one is huge. This one's huge. This one could be one of the best. It could be one of the best. Okay, make the recruiter feel comfortable. Okay, because if you go into this interview, you're a bit nervous, you're a bit uncomfortable, like you've got nerves, you're a bit anxious, all this sort of stuff. Number one thing you can do is, for a second, zoom out for a second. The interviewer is probably just as nervous as well, so go and make them feel comfortable. And there's two things with this. Number one, let me just go into that for a second. A lot of these recruiters, right? They've got their interview script. They probably got sent it a week before. They've probably never actually checked it before. Like they got sent it a week earlier. They probably said, "Oh, read through this and make sure you're all familiar with it." They didn't do that, right? They're probably logging on to this interview. As they're introducing themselves, they are going through their computer trying to find this file, trying to pull it up. They have no idea what they're doing. They do not have a clue what they're doing, okay? So they're probably a bit nervous, a bit anxious, trying to work out what they need to do. Okay, so what you can do is just make them feel comfortable. They're the ones who are nervous. Like this is the mindset you need to have. They are the ones who are nervous. You need to make them feel comfortable. Okay, so just make sure they're all right. Honestly, just check that they're all good. And that's going to have two things. Number one, it means because you're so focused on them, you're going to start forgetting about yourself. Because at the moment, you go into an interview and you think about, oh, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, all this sort of stuff. If you start focusing on them, you're listening to their social cues, their body language, how they're doing, and all this sort of thing. You're going to be focused on them. You're going to forget about yourself for a second. Because the focus is on them. And second of all, if you're actually the ones making them feel comfortable, it's going to put you in a position of authority again. Like, for example, if they're a bit like nervous, they're like, oh, hold on a second, I just need to pull it up. You just be like, be confident, make them feel comfortable. Just be like, yeah, no, that's all right, no problem. Is this your first interview? Just stamp a bit of authority in it, right? Just make them feel comfortable. Imagine they are, like, just reverse the roles for a second, because they're essentially like, probably like 20, they're not 20, they'll be like 30, 35, 40, whatever age they are. They're like an adult, and they're interviewing some 17, 18, 19-year-old teenager, right? So, like, the typical way this role is going to work is they're expecting the 17, 18, 19 to be a bit nervous. So it's the role of that interviewer to sort of make them feel okay. Make it just, this is just an interview. Don't worry about it. It's just going to be a nice little chat, all this sort of rubbish, right? If you can flip those roles and you be the person who's telling them that it's going to be all right, like you're making them feel comfortable, then it's like it's now you're in the position of authority. Very psychological. Okay, but this one is very good. Just make the recruiter feel comfortable. There was a point when, like, when I first started doing one-on-one calls, I'll be honest, I was scared of jumping on calls with people. I'll be honest, man. Like, as I've said, I'm an introvert. Like, my ideal, like, evening is just to be on my own, for example. Like, watching a film or something. Right? Just be on my own, watch a film. Cool. Right? I'm an introvert. I just like being by myself, okay? So when I started doing one-on-one calls, I was scared of jumping on one-on-one calls with people. I'm jumping on one-on-one calls with random people from the internet, man. I mean, I guess they're doing the same thing, but that was what I was like. But then I just went in it with the mindset of, well, think about it from their perspective. They're jumping on a call with some random guy off YouTube, right? They're probably just as nervous. So how about instead of like focusing on myself and being like, oh, I'm really nervous, whatever. No, just make them feel comfortable. So then when I was jumping on with one-on-one calls people, I just make sure they're comfortable. Yeah? So just by me saying, make the recruiter feel comfortable, most of you are going to understand how to do that, like intrinsically. Like you're going to intrinsically understand, based on like social cues and all this sort of thing, how you make someone feel comfortable when you're on a call with them. And that's what you need to do. Okay, if there's any questions about any of this as well, similarly to this like sort of delivery one here, this is a bit of a different sort of module to usual. Okay, it's not just this is the information, this is the questions, this is what you need to do. It's a bit more wacky because it's to do with mindset. Okay, so if you have any questions, same with this delivery one, go and make a post about it and I'll go and answer it there. Okay, so those are those beliefs. These beliefs are so powerful. Try at least one of these. Okay. Now, finally, the protocol, which you can do sort of before your interview, before your assessment centre. I think this is good to sort of get you in the right state of mind. What I like to do is lock in beforehand with like an assessment centre ritual. So I had like a ritual where like 2 minutes 30 before the interview, like say like the assessment centre started at 9 a.m. It would be like every single time at like 8:57, so like 3 minutes before, I'd play a certain song, I'd listen to it, and then I'd go into the interview. And it just got me in the routine. And I've talked about this. Do I have the book with me? No, I don't have it with me, but there's a book called Atomic Habits, and it talks about having a ritual. And once you have a ritual for something, and you get used to it, it's going to make it so much easier. You're going to become better. So when you have an assessment center / interview ritual, once that gets ingrained in you, it's going to straight away get you focused, and it's going to reduce the nerves when you go into future interviews. So if you just get used to doing this ritual every single time, eventually you're going to get to a point where just doing this ritual is going to kill all your nerves and make you ready to go. So think about a ritual, whether it's listening to a certain song, or I don't know, right? Something like that, just to get you in the mood. Okay, then the final thing is take two full breaths, not shallow, from your stomach. Okay, I'm not going to go crazy into like breathing and all this sort of thing, but a lot of nerves is to do with tension and to do with shallow breathing. So just take some full breath. Like a lot of people just breathe from their chest. You want to breathe from your stomach. Now I'm not going to explain that now. That might sound a bit weird, but I'm not going to explain it now. But you can probably search on YouTube like how to breathe fully. Like it might be a foreign concept to you. You might not have heard it. But honestly, just take 2 deep breaths. I think that's probably easiest. Like I don't want to overcomplicate it with this like shallow from your stomach stuff, because that might be a bit too complicated. But just take 2 full, deep, big breaths in through the nose, right? And then that's going to release a lot of the tension. That's going to help you. Like that sort of thing. And just doing that twice is going to release a lot of the tension and make it a lot easier.
Okay, that was the module there. Some of this stuff may seem wacky because it's like, oh, these little beliefs and stuff and protocols and breathing. But honestly, this is the stuff that works. It works for me anyway. So I definitely say go and try some of this stuff and let me know in the comments what you think. I just wanted to add two final things as well. Also, if you're feeling nervous, just get down and do like 20 press-ups, right? Go and do 20 press-ups. And that'll get you distracted as well. And like you'll start feeling like the man. Like if you get down and you go and just, let's just do 20 press. Everyone who's watching, go and do 20 press-ups right now. Okay, go. I'll be honest, I feel like the man. Do you know what I mean? Just from doing those 20 press-ups, that's a confidence boost, man. And I'm super out of breath because I've got a cold and my nose is all blocked up and I'm super unfit all of a sudden. But like, do that. Probably not like 10 seconds before your interview because then you're going to be all out of breath, but maybe like 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before. Bash that 20. I mean, if it's a virtual, it's easier because then it's just your bedroom floor. Maybe it's a bit weird if it's in person. You're in like the reception lobby waiting area. Everyone's sitting in their suits on like the couches on the sofas, and you just go on the floor and start bashing them out. That's a bit weird, maybe. But virtual, definitely try that. What was I going to say? Final one's a visualization one. You know how there's that like meme or something about like being the main character? Like this guy thinks he's the main character. This guy thinks he's him. That sort of stuff. Honestly, actually do that. Like just start visualizing yourself honestly, visualize yourself as James Bond. Right? James Bond at Skyfall. Just visualize yourself as this. And like I do that. Like I visualize myself as the main character. And it sounds cringe to say out loud,
but it like gives you confidence, because if you're the main character, if you're this guy, what's there to be worried about? So again, it's another thing that seems wacky, but it's the wacky stuff that works, right? These beliefs, they work for me. Turn on the ones which work for you. Do this protocols, and I could sort of add on to this protocol here. Do 20 press-ups, and also just inject, like from now, just visualize yourself as James Bond, like permanently. That's not even like an interview thing. That's just a life thing. You're gonna have so much more confidence and faith in yourself when you're literally this guy, like this exact thing here. Let me just tell you a story. You know, like monkey bars, right? What would be a good one? These all aren't very good examples. Monkey bars, like swing thing. No, that's shocking. Okay, let's just go back to monkey bars, right? Yeah, it was like these ones. Sort of, kind of, not really. There's no good ones. Basically, it was like monkey bars, but it wasn't like bars. It was like little like handhold swingy things that you could go on, but whatever. And basically in primary school, like you'd queue up, there'd be like a queue coming down here, a queue coming down here, and then you'd go on and you'd spend like a minute or so just like swinging. Someone would do like a little like backflip sort of thing, right? And I used to always like swing as high as I could, high as I could, high as I could, high as I could. And then at the last one, I'd go as high as I could, and then I'd let go and I'd jump off and I'd basically like fall down onto the, I wouldn't fall, I mean, I'd land it, right? And I used to pretend that was me. If you guys have watched Skyfall, there's a bit where he's on this digger and he like jumps off and he lands on the train and he just starts like adjusting his like jacket, like adjusting his watch. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen, right? I used to do that exact thing. You know what? Let's just watch it right now. I don't know if this is like a copyright thing which can happen, but let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about. Are you joking? They don't even show it. Okay, this Skyfall opening scene. Yeah, this video is going down a tangent I didn't expect. Opening. Yeah, this is the one, right? So he's coming, James Bond. Do, like all this sort of stuff, right? And where is it? No, I'm actually bugging out. Guys, I actually apologize for this. It's right here. Right? This like film analysis. Yeah, so he comes down here, he's going boom boom boom, and then he like jumps off, he lands, and then he flips, and then he like does the watch, and he like does the jacket and everything. I used to go on the monkey bars, and I used to like swing off these and like land, and then I'd like do my thing and like do my jacket as if I was like James Bond. Okay, where is this coming from? Why am I including this? Just because that gives me confidence. Like, it sounds cringe, it sounds stupid, but it's also like legitimately helpful. So those are the two things. That was the main things I wanted to cover in this module. But two other things I thought while I was sort of putting this video together and like editing the clips together, I just thought press ups, James Bond. I hope that helps. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. See you in a bit. Peace.